You know, I grew up in the Midwest. I don't think it's that crazy to leave a 16-year-old and have them babysit.
May I introduce you? May I interrupt you for just a second and just say, I'm shocked at you guys. I am shocked at the sheriff. I'm shocked at Annalise. Were you left home as a 3-year-old, Annalise? Ever? Were you left home as a 12-year-old? Were you left home as a 14-year-old? I doubt it.
I was left home as a 14, 15-year-old. And more importantly, we had, as a 16-year-old, we were babysitting 3-year-olds. So, I mean, I don't think that it's that crazy to have a 16-year-old babysit a 3-year-old. It's not. That's commonplace. It is.
That was abandonment. She didn't leave to go to have dinner with her husband and come back. A road trip, a truck driver's road trip could last up to weeks. Like, she was gone and didn't have to be. There is the bigger issue. She did not have to be gone. She did not have a job. She was not getting a check. And she has a 3-year-old child at home and teenagers in that house. You should want to be around these kids to make sure they're raised correctly.
I'm not giving this woman a gold star for parenting, but I mean, they're horrible parents. Obviously, they're bad parents because they're having neglect charges for other issues. There's a whole host of legal issues.
For other issues. So there was other neglect charges.
There's other issues.
And that's not related to the murder case, right? Now, the sheriff explained what those were. Have a listen here.
The defendant, oldest defendant, had been locked in her room on different occasions. And basically in the room all there was a blanket and a bucket to urinate in. The parents had removed her from school. They were having issues with the daughter, acting out at the house. This was kind of their way of dealing with the child. You know, everybody has different ways of dealing with their children and the way they bring them up.
So Annalise, there's a lot of sort of code there. They were abusive to this girl, and then they were also abandoning, right?
Right. I question the abandonment, but they definitely were abusive. You cannot lock a child in a bedroom with a blanket and a bucket and just hope for the best. That's not how we're going to discipline children in this country. And so they are going to be brought up on charges for child neglect and abuse in that case, and they should be. And I think that's an important piece of when we're looking at the actual actions of this 15-year-old. Was she being abused on a regular basis, and could that maybe create a defense for what happened with her brother?
And I'll tell you what, Kelvin, I'll get to you in a second, but I cannot tell you how often I've dealt with patients, drug addicts, who described to me the experience of abandonment by their parents in their mid-teens, and the longing and the pain, and sometimes they were left with younger children. I have these horrible images of some of my parents, standing at the window in a motel waiting for their parent to come home. It's awful for that age group. They are overwhelmed. They are shattered by this oftentimes. Not necessarily, I understand, Annalise, sometimes there's some babysitting, but when they feel the parents have left them, the abandonment feelings can be shattering. Kelvin.